Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is maintaining frame number 144. The bar is in hell, where we're going to
Mhm.
be looking at a video. This was a request given to us by, is it Richard Pierre?
Of
To res-
course.
yeah, to respond to this.
If it's esoteric, it's the great indoors. If
Mm,
it's sheer masochistic bullshittery, it's Richard Gere.
yeah, yeah.
And neither is like bad. It's just different flavors. And I'm not saying that great indoors is esoteric stuff doesn't lead to some interesting conversations. Sometimes it's nice to occupy the space and the cerebral cortex a little bit more than the
Mm-hmm.
amygdala. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's a good thing. So
Yeah.
neither is bad. You're all good. But yeah, it was Richard Gere this time.
So yeah, we're gonna be responding to this intersectional feminist YouTuber, Bryrony Claire. I think we responded to a couple of her videos before, and
Mhm,
she is more she's not so much a female dating strategy feminist as she is a like all men are scum feminist and everything is patriarchy feminist. So she
mm,
is reacting to the show that Netflix put out called Adolescence that's been making the rounds. Everyone's got a take on it, and most of them are
mhm.
trash, and hers is not much different. So we're going to be looking at her trash take on Adolescence. And again, you know
Why
what I
not?
noticed too that's interesting is that most people who respond to this they respond to the show like they're responding to a real thing that really
I know.
happened. Like everyone treats it like it's real, and it's almost like they think that if they do it enough and with enough like loudness and enough sound and fury and enough frequency that people that have two brain cells to rub together will immediately be like, you know what, maybe this is real because
Mm,
everyone keeps saying it. Like literally, this movie or this show has been tabled as a must-see thing in Parliament in the UK
mhm,
Parliament. They were like, "We're gonna watch everybody. This should be in schools." It's like it's a show that is lying about reality, but
mhm.
it's so well performed, and acted that people are like, "This must be real. It must be real things." So, of course, Bryrony is no different. I know that we haven't even gotten into this video yet, but I watched it because I had to. And you're welcome. And I want my, hours of life back, even though the video is only 45 minutes. I feel like I'm going to be like dealing with this for days, just like
Mm.
the impact of having to watch it. But it's crazy to see feminists react to content made by feminists and then like regurgitate the talking points that the feminist created content puts out there as though they are giving a unique perspective, even though they're literally just saying like it's just like it's like a human centipede that doesn't have an end because it's just like assholes and mouths connected in a circle, and they're all just fitting in each other's mouths the same talking points, and it comes out the other end like it's and they think they just did something new, like, oh, here's a new take on toxic masculinity.
Mm.
Meanwhile, same exact take,
Yeah.
and no questioning the premise at all either. It's just like the premise is a given, guys, because look, I saw a movie about it. I saw a TV show. I read a book. It's
Mm,
almost like they know that there is a reason why it's important to control all of the narratives in our culture. And if anyone tries to make something that stands outside of their specific, walled garden of content, then all of a sudden it becomes like verboten and they can't talk about it because it's not operating within the ecosystem of bullshit that they have created. And
and
that's what that she's reviewing something that she would have written,
yeah,
but she still has criticisms, you know?
it's an
So
ecosystem with one life form.
yeah, yeah.
An ecosystem of one. Oh man, yeah, this is it is a feminist production of reality, and now they're doing a feminist interpretation of a feminist production of reality.
Right.
Oh boy.
And they're saying, "Oh my god, guys, so real. It's so real." So, all right. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be responding to. This is Bryrony Claire's review, reaction, recommendation for women who already live in, a state of absolute terror at the prospect that another sex exists in the world, and that sex has a different like way of existing. That this is for them. This is to further terrify women from men, and not just men, but masculine. The masculine frame completely is like,
Mhm.
like you should be afraid, and that's what the show is for. So
Mhm.
anyway,
Okay.
we should get into the video. Do you
Oh,
want
say
do you want to
John
do the
Doe says
things first?
Pat Brown's review is possibly the most disgusting take I've seen. Let's see if she can beat that.
I don't know who Pat Brown is,
I
but
don't
I
know who
wouldn't
Pat
be
Brown.
surprised.
I don't know about his review. We'll see.
Yeah.
I can't. So we can't comment on that. Apparently, there's something worse than this possibly floating out there.
Oh, I believe
So
it.
let's take heart in that. All right. So if you like the show, you can support it at feedthebadger.com/support. We still continue to grind out this content because you continue to support us. So do so at feedthebadger.com/support. And if you would like to send us a message, the very best way to send us a tip and a message is at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. So feedthebadger.com/support to support the show, and feedthebadger.com/justthetip to give us a comment and a tip. All right, let's I guess just
All
dive
right.
into it.
All right, let's get into the time codes here. So, she introduces the topic. It's like 30 seconds, so we'll just listen to her introduction.
One of my patrons recommended the show Adolescence for this big video I'm working on, and oh my goodness, I'm so glad they did because I watched the entire thing yesterday and I need to talk to you about it. This video is indeed full of spoilers, but I also understand that sometimes it's easier to watch a commentary video about something as opposed to the thing itself. Like I do that when it comes to horror movies, for example, if I can even sit through those. Like, for example, The Substance. I am way too squeamish when it comes to body horror to have watched that, even though the feminist discourse around it would have been amazing for videos, as many people have demonstrated.
Yeah, okay, whatever. So she's squeamish. I think that's probably not an unimportant detail, but let's get into the first clip. So let me see, this is like 2 minutes and 15 seconds in. So she's sort of setting up the opening of the show. And of course, there are spoilers for the show in this video. I don't know how much of it we're going to see because I'm jumping ahead at points. But if you had any interest in watching Adolescence and you don't want to be spoiled, just bear that in mind. But
Oh God.
I watched the whole thing. I have no interest in the show anyway. I'm sure that it's well acted. I'm sure that is, something praiseworthy, but I'm not crazy about like the actual narrative. But anyway.
Go into this kid's bedroom and you see this like child. They look like they're about 10, 12 years old maybe.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder.
And they're interrogating this kid, Jamie, who gets brought out of bed and it's revealed that he's wet himself. Once again, solidifying just how young and childlike this kid, because they are a kid, is. And it's revealed that the child, Jamie, is 13 years old. They put him in the police car and the family follow. And the thing is that the cops in the car, they're trying to give him advice. They're trying to say, you need to get a solicitor. They're actually trying to talk him through to calm him down because he is so obviously this scared, timid, little, frail child. He looks so...
Okay. So she's explained the setup. I just thought it was worth pointing out. This kid was, 13 years old in the story. Remember, this is fiction, guys. And the police show up and they scare him so bad that he pees himself. Okay. Fair enough. And then they, put him in the car, and while they're in there, they're trying to calm him down by making suggestions or recommendations or whatever. Okay, so let me jump ahead to the next time code here. This is just so you get because she references back to this point later. That's why I'm bringing it up now, because there is this thing where this child, at least in the story, apparently goes from, timid, fragile, scared child to dangerous, almost like a man. Like it's like that, like they're crossing into two worlds between boyhood and manhood, and they're presenting two different sides to this same kid. And I think that's why it's important that we saw that first part of it, because it's the way that they're presenting the story. And bear in mind, again, this is a fictional story done by people with a feminist perspective on masculinity. So bear that in mind when we see how the story unfolds. All right. So next is 432, where she talks about the trial, as it were. This is like episode 1, day 1. Okay.
What is she used dead then?
Why would you ask that?
Is she?
Oh, yeah, she is. And we think you know that.
Were you attracted to her? No. Did you go and see her? No. Bring up the CCTV footage, and this is where the solicitor's like, I think that we should take a break because he knows if there is CCTV footage that they are bringing up now and they've just identified him in this image, oh yeah, this kid is guilty. But Eddie and Jamie are just like, well, we'll just keep going, it's fine. Because Eddie is so convinced after what his son has said that he hasn't done anything wrong. He's not done anything. Why were you following her? He's denying it. And then we
All right. So this, again, she's playing through like the various like things that happen in the story before we get into her claims about this. I think there is let me see, 5 minutes in. We'll jump ahead another 2 minutes. So 6:51. I'm sorry that I have to jump around a lot, but her videos are long-winded and she, just drags things on. So
watching this, just how normal every day was, how normal everything was. There was no mourning thing. There was no nothing about this. Jade is being questioned by Bascom and Frank.
Wait.
They ask-
Can
So
we stop for a second?
yeah.
So
Sure.
she's asserting that nothing, like this was just normal. They treated this girl being stabbed in school as normal.
Yeah, because they're okay. So one of her main critiques of the show, and I think it's kind of stupid, but one of her main critiques of the show is that the focus is on the boy as the perpetrator of this crime and not the girl who was the victim of the crime. So the girl being murdered is sort of like it's the reason for the story. She is the flashpoint. And
Mhm.
I guess the show doesn't show any of that because it's all an investigation after the fact. And she's like, well, why isn't there mourning of this girl? Like, why don't we know about this girl? What's her story? And it's like this thing with feminists where they're like, why isn't the female character the main character, even though the story is about demonizing the boy? But the story is about demonizing the boy and basically all of the men in the show. Like, it's not even just the boy that's the problem. There's like little jabs at every male character.
So essentially, it's why can't we demonize men without making them the focus?
Yeah, exactly. Why can't we make them the villains without giving them too much attention?
Or any attention or any
Mhm.
relevance to anything? Well, because you want to offload responsibility onto men by demonizing them. They're
Yeah.
your scapegoat. So unfortunately, the scapegoat is the star of the show. It's not particularly, you don't particularly want to be the star of the scapegoat show, but the scapegoat is the star of the scapegoat show.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You got to have the scapegoat be the main character so that you can sufficiently scapegoat them, right? But this is the thing, like the way that these women, the way that these people process information, they're constantly thinking about like how are women worsened by this, even when the story is showing how the men are bad and they are spending time doing that. They're still like, well, what about the women though? But like, not that the women are bad. No, not that. What about the women, like just being in the story? Where is the sympathy for her? It's like you can't please these people, really. I mean, that's just
No.
what it comes down to. But
Well,
okay.
it's an ever-moving target. And it just sort of
Yeah.
reminds me about the complaint about the lesbian romance in which, they always have to have an evil male ex to put in
Mhm.
some actual conflict into the story. And it's, well, yeah, because you can't have an evil female ex in
Yeah.
a lesbian romance.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the romance and it's not just about the tension and the conflict. It's also got to make a message that relationships between women are utopian. So there you go.
Yeah,
If you want
exactly.
any conflict, it has to come from a man.
Yep. All right, let's play the rest of this clip.
ask about Katie and Jamie maybe being in a relationship or something.
What was her relationship with boys like, Jade?
You mean with Jamie?
She wouldn't go anywhere near him.
The teachers keep on saying that they're devastated. Everyone's saying that they're devastated, but it's all about Jamie, really. That's where the focus is. Like, oh, what's going to happen to him? Oh, he must have done it. Oh, I hear he did this. I hear he did that. Like, no focus is on the victim, Katie. It's all about Jamie. So
That's the story, though. This is like, how do you even counter that argument? Like, it's like if you make a story that demonizes a male character with the express purpose of making that a general demonization of all men everywhere, you still have a problem because they're spending too much time demonizing the male. You don't have a problem with the demonization of the male character. You just don't like that the women aren't getting enough attention for some reason. Like, what I don't get what you like. If you could write the story the way you wanted, it would probably run for 10 seasons because we'd have to learn every single thing about every woman in the story just so that you feel, satisfied that they've been humanized enough, even though it's not about them at all because it's about demonizing men. Like, how would you even do that? Like, do you have any concept of how to write stories?
Well, I don't think she does, first of all. And I don't know what to say. I mean, it just is so depressing that the individuals like this get so much flipping attention.
Yep.
Okay, let's
All right.
continue.
Yeah. So let me see. So basically, her argument here is that all of this is concern over the Jamie character, who again is going to be framed as a monster in the story, but it doesn't matter, because there's not enough attention being given to the victim. Remember, this is fiction. This girl does not exist, but she has a lot of sympathy for this non-existing character. All right. 8. Okay, here's where the Manosphere comes up. And I think that this is a particularly salient because she thinks this is like the whole thing. This is what it's really about, okay?
there's probably something a bit more here. Really, they're getting nowhere with this investigation, but it's Bascom's son who is just like, mate, you're just fumbling around. You're missing the real problem here.
It's an exploding red pill. Pills, the blue pills means you see the world as it wants you to.
That's from the Matrix. You've been watching the Matrix.
Oh, my sweet summer child.
You're not reading what they're doing. Exploding red pill, call to action by the Manosphere. About 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men.
Oh, she's saying he's an incel, Dad. And all those people have fired, which means they're agreeing with her.
He's saying that Katie was bullying Jamie. Does any of this affect you, son? His son is immediately like, you never call me son. You call everybody.
All right, I'm pausing it there for a moment. So they bring in the Manosphere rhetoric to the degree that the people who made this show understand it.
Is this the girl that he was after, the black girl? Or
no,
one of them?
the girl who was killed was a white girl. The black girl was like a friend, I think.
Yeah, the UK, I've heard that they've had a really big problem with knife crime, like white boys knifing white girls.
Yeah,
it's
big
really
problem,
big problem there.
With white boys from intact families that are just living in small town Britain murdering white girls. Yeah, I hear that. That's an epidemic.
It's an epidemic.
It's a big problem.
Over there.
They had to ban knives.
Problem.
I remember. Yeah, they banned knives for a while because of it. So, okay, but anyway, so this boy, the son of the detective guy on the case, is explaining to him the red pill and that she called him an incel, and that's why he did this, because we all know that when you call somebody an incel, they fly into a murderous rage and they usually kill people with a knife.
That's why they use it constantly everywhere to insult everyone.
That's right. I mean, it's laughable how little they understand all of this stuff, anything even remotely to do with the Manosphere. Like, I don't know. I mean, the incel condition or the community or the population of incel men don't really have a lot in common with the Manosphere as it pertains to guys like, Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit and stuff like that. And MRAs, like, they're just completely, their only thing that they share in common is that they're populated likely by a majority of men and that they have an understanding of the issues that men face. And that number is growing all the time. And it doesn't, as long as those issues are ignored, that's not going to change. But this show and its widespread popularity and all that is only serving to support the fact that they're still avoiding this conversation. They're still just trying to like silence it or shame it or condemn it or make it illegal or whatever. You know, like
Mhm.
in England, they're gonna probably pass some laws because they're totalitarian AF over there right now. And this show is going to be used as like essentially it's going to be like exhibit A. Like here's this
Mhm.
piece of fiction that we created that like literally describes what's actually happening in our
Let's
world
make
and how
policy
it's
off of
meant.
this. Let's make
Yeah.
policy off of this fiction that we've
Yeah.
constructed.
Yeah, I mean, they were already doing that. If you consider where all of their feminist studies came from, that basically was fiction too. Now they're just not even lying about it. Yeah, we're just gonna make shit up, and then we're gonna make sure that you pass laws based on the shit we made up. So, and again, this won't address anything. So,
And they've shut down juvenile detention facilities for girls. And
yeah,
they're going after prisons for women. So you're going to be living in a society in the UK where boys are considered to be terrorists by virtue of being boys, and there's no justice oversight over women.
mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting experiment. We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah,
Yeah, see
seems
how
like a
it goes.
bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it
Bold
works out for
strategy.
him.
Bold
Yeah.
strategy.
All right, so let's let his son, who's clearly like, more like soft and less toxic and dangerous. He's talking to his dad, and his dad calls him son. And of course, now we're learning that even this father is not a good man because none of the men can be good on the show.
Son is
Well, the
immediately
black
like,
man
you
can be,
never
right?
Huh?
The black man, the black cop is good.
Yeah, the black. No. I mean, somewhat like they're more enlightened than the
Okay.
white people, but they're still men, so they're still a problem, and they're gonna touch on that. This is actually really, if you're paying attention, you can see what the people who write and direct this stuff think the way that they think the world should work, and that's what they're putting in their fan fiction. But the black man and his son, they have a better relationship than the white man and his son. They are better people in terms of their moral standing in the hierarchy that these people have created, but they're still men, so there are still problems. They're not like the women. So like that, it shows you everything, right? Like in the eyes of the intersectional woke persona, the black man is a better man than the white man, but still worse than any woman. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Mm.
So in contrast, yes, but when you look at the broader picture, so let's listen to this. You'll see what I'm saying. There's like suggestions here.
me, does any of this affect you, son? His son is immediately like, you never call me son. You call everybody else son, but you never call me son. And if you don't know the lexicon of this sort of manosphere stuff, then it will go over your head because a lot of it comes down to, it seems, emojis now, even though
All right, I'm just pausing it there, just so we can look at some of these links. She's using this as proof of like what she understands about the manosphere. So here's like a Google search. Cosmopolitan, what do the emojis mean in Netflix's Adolescence? The hidden meanings behind the emoji your children are looking. I guess there's like the secret language of the manosphere. Things like the dynamite emoji, the kidney bean, or the 100. I hope the Department of Homeland Security is taking notes on these dangerous emojis. From I know the secret messages. This is like the you ever see the people like Inspector Griff, he was like part of Public Enemy, and this is like the rap group from like the 80s, and he left them, and then he started like talking about like the Freemasons and the Illuminati and the deep symbolism of the eye and the triangle. Like that's what this is. This is that for the manosphere. You look at the emojis, the dog whistles, the secret coded language that the manosphere uses. I think that it's not really hidden, to be honest. They're just talking about shit, but you have to read into things because you're paranoid and delusional. Let me see, 9:05.
This
There's
feels
10
like
seconds left
that
here.
meme of a woman saying, "What is he thinking? What is he thinking?" And
Yeah.
he's thinking, "Did I close the door Did I latch the door at work when I left? And she's
Yeah,
like,
what is it?
is he
Yeah,
thinking about?
what is he
thinking
thinking
about
about?
another woman?
Yeah.
Did I make sure to turn on the security
Yeah.
system? You know.
Trying to remember what side quest he needed to do on Skyrim when he gets back up.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's listen to him 10 seconds more.
You can use different words and stuff. Like there's a whole encyclopedia you can dive into.
So encyclopedia comes, she references Men Who Hate Women and Extremism Nobody is Talking About by Laura Bates. So Laura Bates is her
Laura Bates.
reference. Yep.
You know,
Laura
it's interesting
Bates.
because as soon as I saw the way that they made up that boy, I was thinking Laura Bates. Because
I think I wouldn't be surprised if she was.
Oh yeah,
the
this is
person
going
they
to give
went
her excuse to get him even younger. Like she was
Mhm.
slumming with the 15-year-old boys. She's like, yeah, this is old meat. This is a little tough. It's a little bit jerky-ish. I need to get the young tender shoots. And this is
Too
going to give her
old, do not want.
yeah, she's going to get her. This is going to allow her to get access, sexual access to even younger boys. But you know, nobody's counting that. But yeah, I was thinking of Laura Bates the instant I saw how they made up the boy. You know that the boy is fully made up, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Face to body. That's why he looks well. He looks. He's intended to look very attractive, shall we say? So he's an
Mhm.
attractive, very young boy.
Mhm.
Just like cuties, right? You
Yeah.
can see the hoof prints of this kind of crap.
That's a different kind of fetishization because when it's girls, it's there's a different way to approach it. But yeah, I do think that there's some weird fetishization of this young
Fetishism.
man.
Well, I
Yes.
mean, you take a look at him, and why did they choose that particular shade of lipstick?
Mhm.
Like they're really going for kind of a gothic, um, killer look. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're really hitting the hibistrophilia plus the pedophilia angle. It's actually a little bit freaking disturbing just seeing that. And the other thing that occurred to me is when you were talking about how he seems so fragile in the beginning, it's almost
Mhm.
like they're trying to take away boys' vulnerability entirely. And
Mhm.
they're trying to suggest that it's sinister and creepy and it
Oh,
hides a secret
absolutely.
evil.
That's kind of what comes out later when he like loses his temper. That's exactly the point. Is to like take away the innocence. And there's a few
Yep.
ways you can do that. And one of them is to try to present them as adults, in
Yeah.
some like with some adult agency when it comes to males. I got a super chat from Anemic Royalty who says for $1.99, Ralph Nader is uncircumcised. That is all. Well, good for Ralph Nader. Who's Ralph Nader? Does anyone know? I don't know who that is. I know that name from somewhere, but
I'll look it up.
yeah, okay.
I know it too. It's off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's listen to the other. There's like 5 seconds left of this clip, I think, and I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So
Really with this manosphere nonsense. And Diaz Frank says exactly what we're all thinking.
Involuntary celibate stuff, it's the Andrew Tate shite.
This is the real issue. And guess
is it? Is it?
Ralph Nader is an American political activist involved in consumer protection, environmentalism, and government reform causes. It doesn't frickin' matter. The system is dying. Okay? Nobody's going to care when everyone's starving. All right, let's keep going.
So anyway, she says the Andrew Tate shite. She says this is the issue, okay?
guess what? She notices the exact same thing that I did, that everybody's going to remember Jamie and nobody gives a toss about Katie. Because that's exactly what we've been seeing, because that was all I was thinking about, as I talked about in this video here. Everyone just cares about what's going to happen to Jamie. So Bascom goes back to Ryan.
Yes, they want to see justice done. That's the typical thing. Like the thing is, there's nothing that's going to happen to Katie except decomposition at this point. Like nobody cares. It's not that they don't care about the fact that she was killed. It's just that there's no further conflict. There's no further question in that. So they're thinking, is justice going to be done with this boy? Is he going to be thrown into jail for his crimes? That's what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
If you want Katie to be the star of the show, then Katie would have had to have knifed him. Oh,
What?
She's not. If Katie went to knifed him, she wouldn't go to jail because she's in the UK and they don't jail girls. So there's there. I
Mhm.
mean, if she knifed him, then she would become the center, and whether or not the knifing would be punished would become the central conflict, and she would be able to be part of that because she was the one who did it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we can't acknowledge women's violence against men and boys. So how could we have that story?
That's right. All right. So next clip is her talking about the scene where Jamie, that's his name, right? He's talking to the the therapist or the psychologist or whatever. That was the one that with the scene, parts of the scene were posted on X. And so we'll take a look at this.
It's all accused. If I did it.
Don't worry about the frozen frame. That's her, the YouTuber. She's probably trying to avoid a copyright, so she's just putting up.
Yeah, look at the lipstick on this boy.
Yeah.
And why didn't they just slap some garters on her and a little lacy number? No, I'm not fucking kidding. They're sexualizing this boy. It's disturbing. Let's keep going.
If I hurt her, then I get it, but I didn't. So
Sets him off once again.
look up. You want to sit down? You not.
Oh my God! Every female pedophile in the audience. That's just right. Every female hypistrophilic pedophile in the audience. You remember we talked about how women are attracted to men's anger? Some women.
Mm-hmm.
This is a freaking fetish. Aren't you an adult? Why are you cringing away from him? Establish authority. He's a child.
Yeah, but she's afraid of him.
Then she's a weakling and a coward.
That's the thing that's interesting about this. So okay, I'm trying to look at this as just a show. So looking at it from the perspective of filmmaking and writing and not necessarily what they're trying to do, which is essentially get us emotionally invested in fictional characters so that we can take a specific stance. So if you're telling a story and you want to really increase tension, why is it in horror films, for example, really good horror movies will have female protagonists? We call them scream queens or final girls. Well, one of the reasons why it's really effective to have female protagonists in horror films is because of our natural inclination to, sympathize with a woman that's in danger. It's just way more effective. If she's being chased around by the slasher guy, Leatherface or Freddy Krueger or whatever it is, Dracula, coming into a room and she's powerless to resist him. We're supposed to be made more afraid by the fact that it's a woman because we see women as more vulnerable and obviously weaker than men. So this is and some people have done a twist on that, The Ring kind of inverted it, and I think it did a good job. But usually, or The Exorcist, but usually you have a final female character and a protagonist, and you have whatever the killer is, whatever it is, the monster. The only way to do it even more, take it another level up ahead of that in terms of the tension building, is use a child. But they very rarely do that with children because, they do sometimes, but it's usually for whatever reason, in a lot of older horror films, it was a step too far to put children in danger like that. Unless you had, unless you were doing it in a really creative way, like Poltergeist or whatever. And I'm sure you guys have some examples. But what's happening in this is actually interesting because what they're trying to do is they're trying to make this woman, who is a grown-ass woman, she's an adult, put her in a position to be afraid of a 12-year-old boy, when normally a 12 or 13-year-old boy would be the most the most vulnerable person in a story that involved tension like that. I watched The Mist not long ago, and there's in that story, in that movie, there's a father protecting his son. His son's probably 10 years old, and the one of the things that keeps the people on edge watching it is they're worried about whether or not the child is going to make it, because they're kind of expecting that the father will sacrifice himself to protect his child. And this is what you'll see in other things like The Road, for example, or the Shogun Assassin. But how are they going to do this? They're trying to invert this. They're trying to make the boy the adult and the woman the child, because it's the only way we're going to feel like afraid for the woman. And they are trying to do that. And you could tell by how they shoot her expressions, like they're cutting to her reaction here. And also later when they frame it to where the boy is standing over her. But it doesn't, for me, it doesn't work. But it is what they're trying to do, I think.
Well, of course, and I still insist that this boy is being sexualized as an adult male. He's being put in this position of
that's possible.
like having that kind of adult power over this woman, and it's not wrong. Let's finish this, and I'll give you my thoughts.
All right, let's listen to the rest.
Get that in that little head of yours.
Saying all of these exact same talking points, which we hear all the time in the
Okay,
Manosphere.
but wait a second. Why would they have
Those are supposedly Manosphere talking points. But go ahead.
Why does the boy have to assert that she doesn't get to control his life? Like, if it was a girl and a man, would we have the same reaction to the girl asserting that the man doesn't get to control her life? No. But the premise is that he's starting from a position where his life is being controlled by this woman. Right? Okay, but here's the other thing that I wanted to say. This is exactly the problem. So if you're going to present women as victims and not authority figures over boys as young as 12, 13, if you're going to present that, then what you are creating is a Peter Pan system in which boys no longer have any authority whatsoever. Like they don't, in fact, what you're doing is because most boys, they only have a mother, they only have female teachers, all of their authority is female, and now you're saying there is no authority over boys, right? You see what I'm saying, Brian? Because you're wanting women to be victims of younger and younger and younger boys for whatever fucked up reason. You guys are sick, but regardless, you want women to be seen as victims of younger and younger and younger boys. That means women don't have that perception of authority over those boys. Of course they do. They absolutely do. What you're really constructing is a situation where the people who have the authority have none of the responsibility for their charges. What a surprise the UK would do this, considering that they don't even consider it rape if that woman had sex with that boy. They don't even consider it statutory rape. They don't even consider it that at all. I don't even know if it's illegal there. I looked at the actual statutes. I'm not even sure what it would be qualified under. I don't even know if it would be considered a sexual crime. It might be a gigantic loophole for female pedophiles in the UK. I'll have to look through the statutes again, but it really disturbed me the first time I looked at it. But it wouldn't be classified as statutory rape because in order for it to be rape, it has to be a man and a female, either a girl or a woman. So this is right off the bat. She has authority over him and none of the responsibility to protect his sexuality, none of the responsibility to protect his person, his childhood, his innocence, because right here, he's the one with the power, right? So that is an excuse of any kind of tyrannical exercise by women over boys. Right there. This is what they're constructing. And they're also constructing this idea that every time you look at a situation of a young boy and an older woman, you have to see the boy as the potential aggressor. So again, in that scenario, there's no legitimate authority that boys can look up to. So we are constructing generations of boys with no legitimate authority. Nobody to look up to, not even the women, because the women have no responsibility to them. No, they have no responsibility that will be enforced to them. So these boys lose their childhood. We are literally doing an experiment on the human mind right here. We're saying what happens when we go back to a situation in the far evolutionary past when we didn't have childhoods. All we had is maybe an infancy, and then you're an adult. No childhood. And what's interesting to me, I think I don't know if you heard this, maybe it was just me and Hannah talking about this, is Hannah was talking about how she has a coworker who's in a correctional facility or worked with juveniles. And he was describing how juveniles who are in trouble with the law have changed over the years. They went from, he could appeal to their sense of honor or at least their sense of consequence. Now there's nothing. They don't recognize honor, that you honor others or any kind of reciprocity. And they don't even seem to recognize cause and effect, because these women are removing childhood from the human race, because they're saying that women are not adults to boys. And those are the only adults that boys have. So basically, we are constructing generation upon generation of essentially feral children. And the girls aren't that much better, because all they learn is how to ape the sisterhood. Good luck. Good luck in the coming years maintaining an a advanced civilization with these principles and allowing these people to have control over the development of human social habits, the movement of children from infancy to young adulthood. These people have control. They control it. They are laying the foundation for the future. And they literally do not see women as adults in relation to boys. I know that sometimes I go on and maybe people don't understand the point I'm making, but I hope that you guys can get something out of that. Okay.
All right, let me play some more.
I'm not what you say I am, or what did she say? She just smiled and said, okay, and walked away. That just must have hurt. I didn't kill her.
And he gets angrier and angrier, saying that you can't trust videos. It's fake.
And again, remember we had that I think it might have been with you, but we covered a video. No, I think it was with Hannah, where a woman confessed how men's anger turned her on.
Mm-hmm.
This is fetish material. I'm sorry. Look at, and I know that maybe people are like, why do you keep going on about that? Look at the emphasis put on the lipstick and the lips on this kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's intended to emphasize, and I say this and it's gross. So, but they are emphasizing features on his body that are considered sexual as they do this. And then they are constructing this angry kid. I would lay odds that there is some extremely unsavory sexual intent behind this. And I'll leave it at that, because
Well, it is the entertainment industry. It is show business, so I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, well, and everyone's praising the crap out of this boy too, by the way, in real life, like IRL acting ability. So he's going places. I hope he watches his ass.
Scared, trying to hold it all together, and then he just growls, and then she flinches, and he's like, I know that I've got the power. This is a 13-year-old boy.
Are you fucking mental?
I told you it's an inversion. They can't help themselves.
What is the point? Okay, what are you trying to say about the world now? That an adult woman can't be an adult to a 13-year-old boy or younger, or however young you want to make it? Is that what you're saying about the world? This is making me really fucking uncomfortable. There's something about it that's just unbelievably unsavory. The construction of this, okay.
Well, okay.
And he's from a pretty normal family. And it turns out that Tommy, Ryan, and Jamie were being...
Yeah, she says he's from a pretty normal family, which should be something that would say, well, yeah, then why would this happen? It makes no sense. But no, she just says, like, it's a real thing. Like, oh, look, even kids from regular families that have a stable home with a mother and father, they could turn out awful. It's like, yeah, but you're talking about fiction. Like, this is fiction. This is not statistically likely in the real world. And yet you see it happen in fiction, and then you try to gaslight your audience into thinking that this thing that happened in a fictional setting could also and on top of all that, he's from a normal family. It's like, yeah, but this is made up.
Yes, it's made up. And if they went by statistics, it would look a lot different, let me tell you.
Yeah, like
massively different. If they went by what was actually most likely to happen in reality, it would look a lot different, right? And there probably would be some kind of sexual abuse by a woman. He probably would be the child of a single mother. He probably wouldn't be white. I mean, if he was, he would definitely have been raised in a man desert, which is the real problem. Because this is the funny thing. The UK is trying to make it out that it's the influence of men that's the problem, right? Like the influence of the manosphere, as opposed to the complete absence of actual men who care about these boys in their lives. So they know, the UK knows what's coming out of the man deserts, right? And it's going to get worse, but it chooses to focus on the least plausible scenario, the least plausible source of the problem.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. It's like you have a gigantic river, like a tsunami coming your way, and you focus on little Timmy with his squirt bottle. You're like, oh, you're going to drown everyone with your squirt bottle, little Timmy. Meanwhile, you ignore the flippin' tsunami coming in. Like, it's absurd. And then again, you're right. It's these feminists are seeing this as reality. By the way, look at them sitting down. She's probably 6 inches taller than him, standing up.
Oh, for sure.
Why
for sure.
doesn't she stand up? And she
Because
also
it doesn't have the appropriate effect if she's sitting down and he's standing up. That's literally why they did it. That's like, it was to create this emotional reaction. That's why they shot it like this. That's why. And then like there's a guy comes to the door, he's outside the room, and she waves him off like, "Oh no, it's fine. I got this." And I mean, so like there's still like she has power to like stop this, but this right here is the emotional payout right here. This is what you're supposed to feel. This is why this clip was the one that was viral on X. And people didn't see it. Like they just were like, "Oh my god, that kid is scary." He's like, "No, he's a child. He's upset and no one's helping him." And like, I mean,
nobody's
and
in
this is
authority.
fictional. No.
And what they're essentially saying now, ladies, inadvertently, is not only can they not actually vote to construct a society that's functional, apparently they also can't be mothers of children. They can't actually occupy an adult role when it comes to children. All she needs to do is stand up, right? Even if he's taller than her, just stand up. Stop submitting. So you're telling me that women can only submit to what? He's like freaking 75 pounds? Well, then hire female teachers that are outweigh him substantially or something. Like this is freaking ridiculous. Okay, let's keep going.
All right, I got a super chat from Albatross. He says, "Stunning and brave professional adult, but she's scared of a skinny 12-year-old." Well, again, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. So if you watch the scene, she puts on a like this fucking Clarice from Silence of the Lambs thing where she's like afraid but remains stoic and then sort of like calms the boy down so that you can have that emotional moment but then move on so you can continue with your narrative. Like this is all just like really heavy-handed stuff. But thank you, Albatross, for that. Okay.
They are saying that male
and said, "Okay."
What?
They are saying that male kids are evil.
Yes. Particularly white male kids, but male kids in general.
And walked away. That just must have hurt. I didn't kill her.
And he gets angrier and angrier, saying that you can't trust videos, it's fake news because videos can be manipulated these days.
She was a bitch. Even you can see that.
What was that?
Hmm?
What was that? Like, isn't that not true that videos can be manipulated today? Like deep fakes are a thing now.
Yeah, sure. Well, again, we have to say that because he is okay. So let's look at it this way. This kid he's no longer a child. He is an avatar of the Manosphere. So everything that he says now, he is just there as the template from which to regurgitate the talking points of the Manosphere. So that's why he is simultaneously like a red pill guy and an incel guy and an Andrew Tate guy all at the same time, even though those things aren't really the same. Like there's some like a Venn diagram, but No, because you can't have that. Because like if you this is the thing that they do that's probably the smartest move for them, is that when they discuss the manosphere or the red pill, they never talk about the MRAs because they couldn't bring it up. We would like, our talking points are not refutable. Like they know we're right. So like they'll just find the guy they can strawman the most and they'll just use that. And the truth is, like the people that they use as their reason for hating the manosphere, they created them. You created these people, like these HR fucking harpies that are like running your governments and your businesses and your schools and everything. They made the manosphere happen. So what you guys are experiencing now, this like level or wave of like PUA types and red pill guys, you made those people. You created them because you did not respond to boys in need. You did not look at the family structure and try to address it. You didn't do any of those things. You just pretended like there was nothing happening and you just kept shitting on men and shitting on men and shitting on men and shitting on men. And then after a while, men start to respond to it. And the thing is, most of them are just like checking out. So that's why they don't address the MGTOWs, because they don't have it. They can't. What are you going to do? Make them hook up with women? You don't want them to. So they're just doing what you asked. And you're not going to like get any, you're not going to address the MRA. So you just go after like the lowest hanging fruit you can. And even then you have to misrepresent them. So you created this problem and you will never accept it because you're just too prideful to do so. All right. Oh, you're frozen, Allison. You're frozen. Let me try to restart you here. Hold on. Let me try to, yeah. Hold on.
Eyeliner, like the whole 9 yards. Like if that was
Yeah.
on a girl, you would say she's being sexualized by the actual the story that's happening. And I think that's where the creepiness is coming. It's he's just a kid. You know, you are the adult. But then again, you said that she did regain control, right? She calmed him down.
Well, yeah, I mean, she kind of like, well, we'll watch. I mean, it is an adult versus a child, so but
Yeah.
let's play some more of this. Okay. Let me see. Yeah.
I could have killed her, but I didn't. I just
Ha, look at you.
all hopeful, like I'm going to say something important.
This 13-year-old kid really scared me at that point. And he says that he asked her out after the photo got leaked, thinking that she'd be weak. And so, you know, everyone else was calling her a slag. So he was like, well, maybe she'll like me now.
I went round and said I was sorry that they'd done that to her. Everyone was calling her a slag, you know, or flat or whatever. So I thought when she was like that weak, she might,
Are you
she might
fucking
like
kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you fucking I don't know what to say. You are using a child for your propaganda. Like this boy is being used to strip innocence from boys.
Yeah. All right. So the next one was
And you know what? This would just be first of all, the kid is not scary. What the hell is wrong with this woman?
Yeah, I know.
That is not a scary
Well,
boy.
she can't watch horror films because they make her squeamish, so I don't know.
Well, how is like okay? How are you supposed to have a working society if you're like that, lady? Like you can't be that squeamish. You gotta be able to deal with stuff that's awful. Or you just gotta accept that men are gonna deal with stuff that's awful, which means you will always rely on them. You will always rely on them. And the fact that you're terrified of a 13-year-old boy, are you flipping mental? Could you imagine watching a man say, and she was that 13-year-old girl was so terrifying. How did we get to this point where a woman isn't laughed at for being terrified of a 13-year-old boy who looks like he's 70 pounds soaking wet? What is fine? What is scary about this boy? Nothing. And yet this woman who is probably 217 pounds soaking wet is terrified of him. I don't know. Maybe she's only 200 pounds soaking wet. Maybe I'm exaggerating.
Oh, definitely heavier than him.
Oh, by a substantial margin.
Yeah, sure.
Like you could sit on him, lady, you could accidentally sit on him on the couch and not know till you walked out the door and a person said, "Hey, I think you have something between your ass cheeks." Like seriously, you're afraid of that? You're afraid of that. And nobody calls her out and says, "This is ridiculous. This is absurdity." Like, I bet there's no one in her comments who said, "Are you mental? You're afraid of a 13-year-old boy. Why?" And I'm not even talking about a 13-year-old like one of those 13-year-old migrants who's 6'4", right?
Mm-hmm.
A tiny little white boy. And you're afraid of him. And I can't even imagine the reverse would ever happen. Would ever be treated seriously.
Yeah.
If you want to be victims of 12-year-old boys, ladies, you do not deserve to be in any position of authority whatsoever. How can you be? Like if a 12-year-old boy just steps up and says some stupid thing, like, "Yeah, haha, funny," and you quail in your boots, how can you be in a position of authority over anyone? Okay.
All right, let's play this clip here.
Was doing emotional work with him as well. She was accepting whatever he said as truth.
Was to assess because I like you as a professional. Not like that, not fancying you, just as a person.
And he starts panicking, saying, "Don't you like me? Just a bit, just as a person."
Don't you even like me a bit? What did you think about me then? Don't you even like me a bit?
Jamie, come on, man, please. Okay?
What did you think about me then?
And he starts
They just made him crazy. Like, guy, do boys even act like that? Really?
No. Well, you're the
Like-
substitute teacher. Did you see that?
No, of course not. No, I mean, like that. It's so like they have to make like well. Okay, I will save it for later. All right. So 22. There's a little bit more of this.
screaming and hitting at windows. And once again, this comes back to humiliation and validation. He reacts strongly to rejection as it's closely tied to both of these things. He's feeling rejected at this point, and anytime he starts to feel rejected, we've seen him lashing out. And he can't lash out in the same way towards bullies at school, but he can lash out this way towards women because he views them as being weaker than, as being lesser than. Just like he felt his father rejected him when he couldn't look at him when he was playing football.
Wait. Let's analyze this Gish Gallop. So
Okay.
he, by repeatedly pleading with her to like him or to say she likes him a little bit, that's what him exerting power over her.
Because he sees her as weaker, and also remember, this boy is not. She's not talking about the boy specifically. This is an avatar for the Manosphere or all men. To put simply.
Okay, but you've constructed this scenario in which this boy sees this woman as weaker in complete defiance of reality. Okay, so the fact that this boy sees this woman as weaker is a feminist construct by the creators of this show.
Mm-hmm.
It's not reality. And also, how is he seeing her as weaker? Okay, so you're essentially saying, I think that she's calling back to him saying that he went after the girl after she was socially ostracized because he felt that she was weaker. Okay, let's just imagine that this boy does exist. All right. Why would you assume that this is the average behavior of a boy?
Yeah,
If this boy
exactly.
exists, he's psychotic, sociopathic. He is an anomaly.
Oh, that's impossible, Allison, because this boy came from a regular family with a father and mother. So obviously, this is not just normal, but like boys that don't have those that sort of ideal upbringing are probably worse. So that it's almost like here's a boy that has all of the ideal factors and is a absolute mess and is potentially really violent and hates women and sees them as weaker and all that. So could you imagine how awful it would be if you found a boy that didn't have the ideal conditions? Like, this is the picture that's being painted here. It's not supposed to be reality, obviously.
So they're going to take, they're going to put this, they're going to make this advocacy for something. What is this advocacy? You're going to show this to boys, and what are you going to tell them? This is you, unless you avoid the manosphere or some shit. That's what they're going to do. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to show it to boys and say, "This is you, unless you avoid listening to anybody but us."
Mm-hmm. All right, let's some more.
This whole thing is talked about so much in the book, which I've talked about once again in this video here, by Matt Brown, which is She Is Not Your Rehab, where women are seen as the fixers of men. Girls are meant to placate and heal boys. Them saying no is unacceptable because they aren't getting that love and intimacy from boys or men.
She is arguing that this is the average behavior of boys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if girls and women are men's rehab, you're doing a shit poor job of it by your own admission. Like you're saying that he demands that he be rehabbed by women. Well, obviously, whatever women in his life are not helping him at all. And then you're saying, well, he doesn't have the right to demand that. Well, he doesn't have the right to demand that we fail him completely. That is not, it's not that we're failing him completely. It's that he doesn't have the right to demand that we not fail him completely. This is more excuses for failure.
Mm-hmm. Hold on a second. I'm just looking something up.
Okay, what? Shall I continue?
No, it's okay. Okay. So I'm jumping ahead to the next bit of 32, 36. Let me see.
Is it so? This is going to be presented to boys in the UK system.
They're going to be showing it in schools, which, by the way, the school system, they were just complaining in the UK that a lot of schools just show movies, and now they want to show this movie. So like they're already doing a shit job in educating kids. Like just like the United States, I'm not just throwing shade one way.
I'm just okay, I'm going to spitball here. All right, as a result of this failed Western society experiment, are we going to get to the point where not only women won't be allowed to vote, but they won't be allowed to raise children either?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just putting it out there. Just a question. Well, I mean, obviously you can't if you can't be seen as being an authority over a child.
Yeah. All right, let's go here.
My dears. She's the one that has to carry the burden of being bullied for the fact that she is Jamie's sister.
Was it them lads?
Yeah, do you know them?
It's always the lads, huh?
Look, if they cause you any trouble.
Dad, everyone causes me trouble. Jamie's sister.
They didn't leave. They didn't take her to another school or anything. She's been horrendously bullied this whole time. But she has to be the one who has thought all of this through and say, no, we shouldn't leave because no matter what we do, this will always find us.
We're staying here.
Okay, so they ask her what she wants to do, and she's the one who decides, and that's still oppression.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to actually live as an entity that makes choices in your life, what's your purpose? Like it's like these feminists, they're at war with the invitation to be alive.
Yeah.
And to make choices that have consequences. They're at war with that. Oh, good Lord. Okay, let's keep going.
Let's get into the father, because this is like the take-home thing, and I predicted this and I was right, which is what they're going to land on is on the show is that Jamie is not, he is a product of the father in his life, which is statistically like just not likely at all, but they got to invert that. So normally, if there's a child that is having some behavioral problems or there's some dysfunction, it's usually because there are problems at home. And the most common way that manifests is a father that is absent, either because he didn't stick around, or more likely the mother has essentially kept his kids from him in some way, kicked him out, they got divorced, she got the custody, he doesn't know that she's got kids, whatever it is, right? And that's at least in the United States, and I think this makes sense to see it everywhere. Usually, like if you look at the data, for example, for violent felons, like overwhelming majority, like over 90 something percent of them come from single parent households, which is most likely single mother households, just because of who we tend to leave the kids with when there is a separation. So like, no, where you would like feasibly land if there was a child that was like committing crimes, you would find out that like there's something at home that they're not getting, right? And but in this, we're actually taught that it is a cycle of violence that the father teaches to the son, which is like not really normal. In fact, Erin Pitsey, in her work when she opened the first women's shelter in the UK, was that she discovered that the cycle of violence was passed down from the mother, and that for her hard work and for discovering that, the feminists drove her out of the country, and I think they tried to kill her dog. So because they didn't like that answer, it wasn't a good answer. It was a bad answer. It was one of the bad ones. But anyway,
Our society, your van, okay?
And it's not happening. We're not having this conversation. Not again, love. What would I want your mum to get me work for? Hey, I've got work here, right? Do you want to take her out of college? Do you want to ruin her life as well? Hey.
Like, this dynamic that we're seeing between the parents will be so familiar to many of you, I'm sure. Whether you grew up seeing your caregivers fall into this pattern, or if you yourself just grew up with someone with anger issues in the house. And
so yeah, of course, it's always the men, right, that are the problem. And of course, when they present this scene, the point of it is to, like, go ahead.
Finish. Sorry.
Well, I think you were going to say what I was going to say. It's the way that they're shooting it. So, like, the wife is just like, again, smaller, terrified, doesn't respond. He's just yelling at her in her face. That's not how domestic arguments usually go down. But this is how they're going to present it for the show, right?
Yeah.
And of course, what were you going to say about it?
Well, what I was going to say is that you look at the same expression on the mother's face as was on the counselor's face, was on the daughter's face. This is all that feminism has for women, is to live life with that expression on your face. Fuck you. Fuck you all.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going.
this constant walking on eggshells and trying to make things extra nice to make sure that they feel appreciated enough so then they're not set off in any way. You're preempting any potential bad thing and making things as nice as possible so then there's no way that they could possibly lash out at you. And this role of the person to make everything extra nice often falls onto women. If when you're watching this show,
Oh, good Lord. Okay, the UK statistics are basically made by feminists, so they're useless. But in the US, where there's still something like freedom of speech and people still push back against bullshit, they found that women are the most controlling partners. I think they've also found that in the UK, but it was a while back.
Mm-hmm.
Women are the ones who are controlling, and it's men who have the greatest amount of anxiety during a conflict in a relationship. All right. So this is absolute bullshit statistically. They're just inventing this shit. You know, and it's as much as feminists frame men in a particular way, they're also framing women in a particular way. They're inviting women to, you know, Brian laughed at when I made that face. They're inviting women to live in that and be only that.
Yep.
And I want no freaking part of it. Screw off with your crappy gender roles, feminists. All right.
you're watching them and you're like, well, this is just normal life. Like, I am so sorry to be the one to tell you that this is not how you should be in a household. And
Again, remember, this is fiction. She's looking at a fictional thing, a made-up scenario with actors that all know what they're doing, that are specifically putting out a certain kind of narrative in a certain framework. And she's saying, I don't know if you guys know, but this right here shouldn't be normal. Yeah, it isn't. It's made up. It's fiction.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, you're
it's-
looking at a dramatization of the feminist version of reality, and you're
Yeah,
saying
you're-
this shouldn't be normal, and it's like it's not.
Yeah, you're looking at a lie, and you're telling us that this, despite this literally being a lie that we're being shown in a dramatic way to emotionally manipulate us, you're trying to say, well, you know, I know that this really happens, and it really shouldn't. It's like, no, it doesn't actually happen to this degree. Like, when was the last time you saw a film where you had a white family that had a father and a mother and children, and they were like, they loved each other dearly and they did shit together? And maybe like if there was some, because there has to be conflict, that it's something external and the family comes together and solves the problem. When was that last? Because it seems like everything you guys put out is about division. It's about people like that are not doing well. They don't get along. There's infighting, and it's like women suffering in silence all the time. Just stop it. It's boring. It's boring, and it's derivative. It's like beyond tropey. It's a cliche of the highest order, and you still are amazed like it's some new thing that you discovered. Hey, look, I just found this new story. Did you know that women are oppressed in this? It's brand new. No one's ever done it before, and it's men's fault. Did you know that? This is why I don't watch anything anymore, because it's all this. It's all this. Anyway, let's let me see. I think 25. Yeah.
I really hope that things are better for you now, because this is not normal. This is not okay to constantly be scared, really. That's what the women in this household are. So he is
So again, you're literally gaslighting people about a show that's gaslighting people even more. Like, I hope you're okay. What is this Grima Wormtongue shit? Like, I don't know you. You don't know my situation. What are you doing?
Well, she's
Anyway.
talking to all of the victims of narcissists in her audience, I guess.
Yeah, okay. That they themselves are definitely not narcissists, that are just trying to confirm their own like pathology.
furious, desperately trying to clean this off, and he's unable to. So he demands that they have to go to the store to get the stuff to clean it off. It's also really important to know that they haven't moved house. They're still in the exact same place where the police raid happened, and all of their neighbors know about this. And what we pick up at the start of the show is Eddie is full on with work. Like, he is working all the time. Like, he comes back from his night shift.
So the dad is, he has to work a lot, and
Okay,
what
does she explain why? Probably
well,
because they're
because
working class,
yeah, they are working class people,
and he's
but
trying to afford tuition for his daughter as well.
yeah,
Unless
Yeah.
unless in the UK, daughter.
well, just paying for everything, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know if the mom works or not, but if she doesn't, then that's just another feminist talking point that, dads, patriarchy hurts men too. Men thinking they have to be the breadwinners is bad because they're going to stress themselves out and murder their wives, and that's the reason why it's a problem. And that women, like the expectation that women should stay home is outdated and blah 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 blah, even though people have to work out whatever. Like, literally the reason why we're in a situation where women literally cannot afford to stay at home is because of feminism. That's the reason why. That's the reason. But anyway,
just before the police arrive. But money problems get brought up with his wife, Christine, because, how many people are really going to hire you to do work for them when your son is a murderer? Especially in a small local town like this, everybody knows everybody else's business. They really do establish that, with the neighbors constantly looking over the fence at each other in like a judgmental as opposed to a neighborly way. Instead of him just going by himself, he drags his
all right. Let's see. I might have to jump up to another bit here. So this is 2613. There is a little bit more, so we'll stay with this for a little while
daughter
longer.
and wife along with him.
It's
No
about
one's
the
had
dad,
any
though,
breakfast yet.
primarily.
To the store to try and find some stuff. And he finds someone for help to get this tag off his work van. And the guy he's talking to recognizes him and he's like, oh my goodness.
On your side, you know. Your son's side, for what it's worth.
Well, I've seen the photos of her.
But he doesn't recognize him in a bad
Oh, brother. So yeah, so some kid at the Home Depot or whatever recognizes him. And again, all the men are bad, so he's on the father's side, which is the bad side. I don't know if you guys know, but the father is the reason for all of this. He's the cause. He is like the person that took away the innocence of his own son because he's a toxic man. And that's kind of like the twist. if
Why
you
don't
thought
you
that
guys
was a
just
twist.
Step into this fever dream you've constructed. But no, you have to force it on everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
You have to force it on boys. And then what are you going to tell them? This is what you are unless you do everything we say. With the moment, if you get a little bit of autonomy and have any control over your own lives, you become monsters, little boys.
Yep. Okay, so let's play the next clip here.
talk, he doesn't do anything. And so his mum pipes up saying that she and his sister are in the car as well. And he's like, oh, I thought I was just talking to dad. Just thinking that you're having a casual call with a dad on his birthday, you know, saying that, yeah, you're going to plead guilty to murder because you did it. At 13, they head inside, and because these are English people, they haven't talked about things properly, because why would you? You just bottle everything up, because that's really, really healthy to do.
You saw the tape, I didn't. This isn't you. Threatening kids, wrecking your van, but him going guilty is probably for the best.
I didn't want to believe it. But I saw it.
He keeps on trying to connect with Eddie, and this is where he says about his childhood, how his father used to absolutely beat the living hell out of him with a belt.
Oh, you're really
And
excited about that, huh?
Yeah.
Like the way that she
So-
described that was, go back just a little bit.
Okay.
Let's see if we can catch a
here.
micro expression.
connect with Eddie, and this is where he says about his childhood, how his father used to absolutely
Pause
beat
it.
the living hell out of him with a
No, it feels like there's a little bit too much excitement with that one.
Yeah. Well, it's excitement about because it satisfies her bias. So
Her narrative, yeah.
the
Okay.
fictional story is ultimately about the male cycle of violence from father to son, and that like this is where it could break, I guess. I don't know. But it just comes back to men in perpetuity.
the belt, and he swore that he would never beat up his kids. He never wanted to be like his father. But then he's like, but am I worse though, because I've made a murderer? And this is where it's revealed that he took Jamie to football as a way to try and connect them both, you know, to be able to build their relationship. But because Jamie wasn't good at it, and all he heard was all of the other dads mocking him, like berating him.
Yeah, all the men, they all laughed at him together, I guess. See, this is like how like this is completely unreal. Like nothing, and women will watch this and they'll be like, "Oh my god, that's the way men are." Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, we're going to say something or you want me to play the rest of this clip?
You know, again, if this was just a work of fiction, it's whatever. But they think that this is reality and they want to teach it in schools.
Keir Starmer said he called it a documentary. The Prime Minister called it a documentary.
Okay,
I mean, this is like the kind of payload. So a little bit.
I'm sorry they called it a documentary.
Yeah, they called it a documentary.
This is a if this is a documentary, it's a documentary on feminist delusion about reality.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to scapegoat this kid because they don't want to be honest about what their policies are doing to their nation. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, all right.
He just couldn't look at them. And so they did another very masculine thing, which was boxing, and that didn't work either. Jamie really liked to draw. He was really good at art. And this was something which brought them both heaps of joy, but, you know, painting, artwork. That's such a feminine pursuit. That's not masculine at all. What would his dad be able to do with that? They can't bond over that. And so they started playing like football games. Like,
So
Wait, who's they? Like, she said that they were bonding over art? Well, then what's wrong with that?
No, she said that they wouldn't be able to bond over art because
Yeah,
it's
but
not
he said that
masculine.
they
The
both got
son
joy
wanted
out
to.
of it.
No,
Well,
they.
go back. She said they got joy out of it.
All right, let me see.
I mean, maybe she's just not
at
being
all.
able
What would his dad be able to do with that? They can't bond over
a
that.
little bit further.
And so
They can't. But is it further back?
Yes.
Okay.
painting, artwork, that's such a feminine pursuit. That's not masculine at all.
Oh,
What
no,
would
it's
his
a little bit
dad be
further
able
than
to
that,
do
a little
with
bit
that?
further. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Didn't work either. Jamie really liked to draw. He was really good at art. And this was something which brought them both heaps of joy. But, painting,
heaps of
artwork,
joy.
that's such a
I think that she's just misspeaking, or she was trying to like essentially suggest that men don't do art at all because it's feminine, which is bullshit because all the great painters are men, but that's probably because they kept women out of it. And yeah, this kind of pisses me off too because like I was the artsy kid. My father was a sporty person, but I get along with my father. Like we didn't have any problems. He was proud of me for doing art, even though he didn't do it himself. And I didn't play basketball.
Yeah, you live in reality.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't live in a fever
let's try to
dream.
get the causality here. Let's try to get the causality. So the boy wasn't good at sports. He was an artist, though, but he couldn't connect to his father through the art. So
Because art is feminine.
Something murder.
Yeah, something murder. Yeah. Basically.
Okay. And that's
I mean,
reality.
I guess, yeah, that's why they didn't connect. But let's hear this.
feminine pursuit. That's not masculine at all. What would his dad be able to do with that? They can't bond over that. And so they started playing like football.
When did women decide that, like, when did anybody decide that art was feminine? When did that happen? I don't think that ever happened. But for some reason, feminists claim that art is feminine, and then boys who do art, they're fighting gender roles or something. Like that's bullshit. Like Frank Frazetta, was he fighting gender roles when he drew Conan paintings? Was he fighting gender roles? Like
when art became an expression of emotion and virtue and lost all of its focus on merit. Okay, but let me point something out here. Let me point something out. This is all like they've literally taken feminist ideology, and this is like dramatization. Okay, how do you pronounce that, Brian?
Dramatization
of feminist theory, the musical. Like even this. Oh, the reason why he became violent was because he denied his girl self. That's why it happened. It's femophobia all along.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
I do want this to be done. So
yeah, this is the last clip. I just need another. Let me see. Like few 30 seconds.
Games like computer games together, and that was kind of okay, but they still weren't connected. And that was when Jamie wanted the computer, and so he got the computer, and it's just like, well, all teenagers just lock themselves in their room. And it's like, I know that I did, but maybe not all teenagers do that. And Eddie said he had no idea what Jamie was looking at, and how Eddie, when he was just looking up videos for the gym or something, for like workouts, how he was starting to get that sort of red pill same stuff and saying how women should be treated. And I've told you in the past, this exact same thing happened.
Yeah, this is just going on the internet, guys. The red pill's gonna get you. It's waiting. It's in the Facebook Reels. We're on Shorts right now. I'm sorry if you go home and beat your wife, but I didn't tell you to do it. Just saying, because apparently that's what happens. He was like, I'm just looking up gym stuff, and all of a sudden it was this is what you do to bitches. Oh man, I can't take my eyes off of it. It's getting me. My pimp hand is becoming strong. I can't stop it. I'm gonna go home now and use it. I gotta use it. The energy, it's in my hand. It's built up. I gotta spend it. This is so ridiculous. I was on the internet and it just turned me into a woman hater. Are you kidding me? Did you just see like women telling you about themselves online? Is that what it is? Just people
that's
telling the
not-
truth?
Manosphere doesn't turn men into women haters. It's women online that do
No.
that.
The Manosphere now, especially like the most popular channels, they're like super gynocentric. They're super blue pilled in a lot of ways. But that doesn't matter because it's not the right kind. That's what it comes down to. They want them to serve women their way. And they want them to not exist. Like this whole thing happened because men were not allowed to have their own spaces. And now they go online looking for spaces. I'm sorry, but this is why I have no interest in like going after popular content creators that talk to men, whether it's Jordan Peterson or Andrew Tate or Fresh and Fit or whatever podcast. I'm not interested because they exist because people like this drove men there. And I think that men are way better off over there with those people than dealing with these people. These people are monsters. They are the worst kind of people. The absolute worst for men. Like this is where the suicides come from. Okay? Not like these, these PUA types. At least they're trying to help them. At least they acknowledge that men have problems.
Yeah.
These people don't. They say that men are the problem. Which one would you prefer? So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
honestly, I really don't think that they're the ones that are making men hate women. I don't think we're the ones that are making men hate women. I think the women on TikTok are the ones who are making men hate women, if men even hate women.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, lady, but this is a direct result of what women are saying about men overwhelmingly on the internet. Do you honestly think that, I don't know, back in the internet Stonehenge, when we were just still erecting like stone pillars that for like or computers or whatever, do you think that the men came on women on the internet and the women were like, we really love men. We really cherish them and we're so grateful for everything they do. Or even just, I think, men have generally helped me in my life and they've made my life better. And I like my male friends and my family. And I really think that they should be supported in their issues. You think that men came upon an internet like that and then were just, oh, these bitches, I hate them. Like, really?
That's so bad, batch. Yeah.
This is like, you think that there's nothing that men are it's just coming out of nowhere. You can see all of the TikToks in which women say the most vile crap about men. And then we even have feminism, which says vile crap about men. You look into all of the feminist conjecture around domestic violence and sexual assault, they think that men use rape and domestic violence to enforce patriarchy. And it's really interesting because now they're saying, oh, it's the internet that does that. Well, how is that? I mean, this is a common feminist refrain well before the internet. Feminists, you're looking at domestic violence and sexual assault as the means
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, Allison, hold on. It happened again for some reason. Hold on. Let me. You froze, but that means people can't hear you. All right. Hold on. Wait. You're not
Okay, all right,
okay.
all right, all right, all
Now,
right.
now,
Okay.
now. Okay.
Because they know they need boys and men. They want to bring in this crap and they want to say that this is your behavior unless you do as we say. That's what it's about. And
Mm-hmm.
it's despicable. I honestly, any boy or man listening to me, if your society doesn't give you a place, doesn't recognize your unique value and worth as a boy and as a man and your masculinity, then it doesn't deserve it. The end. You don't have to hate anyone. You just have to recognize your worth. Right? Is this woman worth it? No. Is she worth going to work every day and making sure there's potable water? No. I mean, you're probably still going to do it so you have it, but is she worth it? I don't think so. I mean, you can make that decision, but judging solely based on her attitude and the fact that she's a massive coward, the fact that she wouldn't make a good mother because she can't accept the concept of having authority over somebody and being in a position of protecting them. You know what's really freaking fascinating to me? Recently we watched and this relates Beetlejuice, the original Beetlejuice, not the crap that they remade it into, the anti-natalist, anti-family crap. Ugh. Okay, but the original one, Gina Davis's character at one point, after being sort of molested by Beetlejuice, says she's not concerned about herself. She says, we need to keep that man away from this younger girl. So she is occupying a maternal spot and maternal authority, maternal protection. This woman can offer neither. And all of the women who are pissing themselves a little over a 13-year-old boy, for whatever reason, I think some are deeply unsavory, but they can offer no maternal protection for children. They are not worthy of being mothers, in my opinion. So, I mean, what is it? What is it that you're sacrificing for? Okay, let's finish this. What the heck? Yeah, sure.
Get that sort of red pill same stuff and saying how women should be treated. And I've told you in the past, this exact same thing happened to Brandon because Brandon's always been interested in finance and like financial independence and all that other stuff. And those sorts of ways.
She was a lesbian.
Mm-hmm. Anything about confidence, anything about making more money, anything about looking better, those are all places where these
It's interesting because I guess our content doesn't classify because we don't talk about looking better. We don't talk about attracting women or financial stuff. We talk about issues that men have. And yet I think, oh, am I paused again? Okay. All right. Technical difficulties. This is
Okay, I'm
freaking
back
ridiculous.
now. Yeah, I know it's ridiculous. I don't know how long it's been like that. I hope it wasn't for too long, but I'm trying to watch the chat and there's a little bit of a delay and I can't tell when something like this happens. So anyway, go ahead, Allison.
Yeah, I was just saying that all of the things that she describes is not the stuff that we talk about.
No,
Um,
but I mean,
But I wonder if you think about it. All right, let's think about it here. So getting richer, looking better, attracting women, right? And then she says that if you look at this content, eventually you'll end up in the manosphere. Now, is that because the manosphere is some kind of evil entity lurking on the internet? Or is it because they're actually able to give men stuff that works when it comes to attracting women, making money, and being attractive? Because here's the thing, like at some point, like the way they're defining the manosphere is basically wherever I get uncomfortable as a woman. Now, if let's say they actually do know what attracts women, what makes them want to stay in a relationship and all of that other stuff, if they actually do know, but it is seen by these women as being unflattering, wouldn't that explain why there's this connection? Like at some point, men have to understand what women want. And maybe that's unflattering to women, which is why she's saying that, which is why manosphere content keeps getting when a man does a search for how to be attractive for women, at first it's blue pill stuff, but eventually, it gets purple pill, red pill, and eventually he's in the pickup artists because they do it best. But she doesn't like it because it's unflattering.
yeah.
So at what point? No, so this is completely defined by her and her sensibilities.
Yep.
I know. It's just a thought that I was following
Yeah,
to
no, it's all right.
whatever conclusion.
I got a Rumble rant I want to read out really quick. Thank you, NovaFan21 for the $1. And he says, feminists seeing a TikTok of women being terrible people. It's not real. That's fake and scripted. Same feminists when watching a Netflix's Adolescence. This is just like real life. Yep. It's that's true. Like those man on the street videos where the guy's like saying how much money, like how much money do you think a man should make? And all he's showing is like how removed from reality a lot of these women are, because they don't really know, like it's. And I say this without like with no shame, because I think that if you're accustomed to men throwing money at you and stuff at you and like growling at your feet and all this other like simp shit, I think that women like that are going to have like a delusional like worldview on like what the world is like. So when they say, "Oh, he's got to make $250,000 a month," you just share that online. If you're like, "Well, that doesn't happen. That's not real." It's like, yeah, no, that's literally like, I'm not saying it's widespread, but yeah, there are women that think this, and there are men who give them enough, like attention and their resources and whatever, that they would start to actually believe that. So like this is not really only a problem with women that have unrealistic expectations, but it's also with men who just give everything away because they think that if they give enough to a woman that they might reciprocate. And some men just have money to throw away like that. And so yeah, I mean, it's a number of factors that come together on that, especially when you consider that we are now operating in kind of a global dating market. Like that means that like Saudi princes can just like fly in and fly. That happens all the time. Like women, Instagram models or whatever, Instagram thoughts, they get flown out to like Dubai for a weekend. That happens all the time. Like, let's not pretend like it doesn't happen, but also like, let's also like be, kind of like grounded in like, well, why does this happen? Where does, but adolescence, that doesn't really happen. Like what this is trying to portray,
Yeah, real people saying things in public or on their channels is real. Adolescence is a fiction that was constructed specifically from a feminist view of reality, which itself is only a means by which to extort resources out of extremely wealthy men, men who
Yeah.
have money and clout. Like let's just be honest here.
Yeah.
Like feminism doesn't describe reality. It's just a set of tools to extort compliance out of men.
Yep.
And this is how they're going to use it. They're going to put it into these schools, and they're going to say, little Timmy, unless you listen to everything we say and put us first, you're going to turn into a monster like this boy. That's what's going to happen. They're just going to keep using it for the same thing over and over again. It's like the monsters from Monster Inc. They use the scream to power their world. That's what feminists do. They use men's shame and guilt to power their world. So they just got to go out and they got to stoke, they got to seed the harvest of guilt and shame among the young boys so that they can harvest it later. Although, to be honest, if Hannah's coworker is right and kids are just getting more and more feral, I don't think that's going to work for very long. I think you need something passing for a father to feel guilt. Okay, maybe that's the real problem, is that they're finding out that kids without fathers are, as we say, not necessarily nice people who care about others. Just putting it out there. Okay, let's keep going.
Well,
are we done?
I mean, that's basically it. I mean, she basically
after this. Okay.
Essentially, yeah, she just says that, like, even if you're not a violent father, you can have a bad impression on your son by being a toxically masculine father. And basically, fathers, it's impossible for them to be good enough unless they're just not in the house. I mean, she doesn't say that explicitly, but that's kind of where it lands. And there's really no solutions as usual. It's just like, ladies, fear men. Men, do whatever you can to avoid this red pill content, because it's gonna make you into a kind of person we don't like, and you have to do everything in your power to stop it. And Laura Bates was right. That's basically what she lands on. So,
oh, of course. And like I said, it's not supposed to be reality. It's just a tool. I bet they don't even think it's reality. They're just enjoying the fact that they've discovered yet a new tool to enforce the same thing they've been doing for generations. They're just going to put it into a school, and they're going to say, hey, what you biting me for? You came up here for affection and now you don't want it? Jeez. Okay. They're just going to bring it into a school, and okay. I'm cautious petting her. Yeah, stay away from my cords. They're going to bring it into a school, and they're just going to use it as a way of manipulating boys into doing what they want. Hey. Yeah, you can't be by the cords. Okay, and that's it.
I got a super chat. Albertinator Retro gives us $2 Canadian, says, I hate them all. PUAs are the biggest simps. Thank you.
Albert, could you tell us why you're still at this channel? Like, yeah, I don't, I don't have necessarily have a problem with you being here, but I just wonder, for your own sake, like, why are you at a channel like this? Like, you seem to have a lot of very, very strong dislikes for people that we don't have a concern about. Or if we do, it's sort of like it's
I don't have a concern. I mean, if you look,
it's a genuine question.
Let
me put it this way.
If you want those guys to go away, then you're going to have to give men a reason not to go there. And so men go there. Like, it can't be helped. And this is just where the conversation is now. And I'm sorry, I can't be bothered. Like, it's like I said already, men today have two choices. They either go to the red pill stuff or they go to the feminist stuff. That's what and the feminist stuff keeps them from doing anything else. So they're going to end up there, and I'm okay with it, because I'd rather they were over there than dealing with people like this.
All right, buds. You have earned the floor. Okay, so I think the other thing, just to sum up, is boys do want to be attractive to girls, and it's extremely difficult to find any information about how to do so from people who regard boys' attractions to girls as being of the devil
Mhm.
and objectifying and extremely toxic, shall we say. Right? I mean, look at how they depict it here. This boy is attracted to a girl, and he literally says he goes after her when she's weak. I mean, that's terrible writing. It's like he's
Yeah.
just by the way, I'm just going to clearly enunciate my motivations based in feminist theory. Like, that's terrible writing. But regardless, how is that boy supposed to find out where? Like, where is he going to learn how to become attractive to women? Except from red pill it's the only content that I see that even addresses that. I mean, have you seen any blue pill content that really talks about being attractive to women aside from wear a pussy hat, have your
Well,
scum manifesto
I
at
mean,
hand at all times?
there's tons of blue pill sort of like, here's how to groom a woman, or like, because ultimately if it's about like increasing your status to attract women, that's not even like in the realm of like red pill content. It's just normal like guys trying to help guys out content. Like you can find it
Yeah,
anywhere. So
but they
basically,
think of that as being red
yes,
pill.
they do, because if it isn't inherently feminist, then it's red pill content.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
talking
what it
about.
is. Yes, if it isn't inherently feminist, it's red pill. That's it.
Okay, so where do they get any kind of information on this if they want it? That doesn't tell them to wear a pussy hat, carry a copy of Scum Manifesto, cry about women's right to choose, at a drop of the hat, and all of this other stuff.
Mhm.
And then they do it, and it gets them laughed at by women and girls. Like, because that's not what they want. Like, where do they go to get advice about attracting women outside of people who will tell them lies because the truth is unsavory to them? You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
And they have to go to what these people term as red pill, because everything that recognizes that maybe women's desires aren't as angelic and fluffy cloud white as the feminists think they are. Any place that does that is beyond the pale. It's red pill. Right? That's what I'm getting at. So that there will always be this push to content like this that allows boys to understand the world better. All right. But anyway, and understand women's attractions better. Okay, so I just wanted to
Yep.
point that out. And okay, are we done? We're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.
So,
Good Lord. I'll see if we have any thank yous. By the way, if you want to support the show, if you think my efforts are worth it and Brian's efforts, go to feedthebadger.com/support to help us out. Oh, this was a doozy.
There are going to be a lot of people on this program that will laugh at that, and there will be several who will probably be quite indignant. I'm not indignant, because this is indicative of the bad manners of a lot of chauvinist ladies.
thank you, Oliver. I wasn't trying to hit that, but I accidentally did when I was opening up the.
But it's
voice.
perfect.
It is.
It's the
It was
bad
perfect.
manners
It
of a
did
lot
work.
of chauvinist ladies.
Yes.
Okay,
right.
so I do want to thank Richard Beer, who put in $500 to the fundraiser. Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Women's liberation, madam, will never survive.
And yet it did, and prospered, because it hijacked.
Well, it's not
men's-
over yet. We could
No, it
we could lose everything, and then it would technically not survive. But that'd be after the end of everything.
Mhm.
So
At the restaurants at the end of the world. Let's all
Yeah.
meet there, or the end of the universe. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I'm good. Feedthebadger.com/support to support the show. Thank you to Richard. Thank you for the suggestion. It is something that does need to be covered, because apparently, like Brian is saying, feminists are looking at a dramatization of feminism, and they're saying, oh my God, it's so true, and it's not the way it should be. And of course, as we all know, feminism is a tool to make men do what feminists say. So essentially, they're just using their tools, just another freaking tool in the toolkit. All
Yep.
right. Feedthebadger.com/support to support the show. Feedthebadger.com/just the tip to send us a message and a tip. And I'll hand it back to you, Brian, for the final word, whatever that
All
might
right.
be. The bird.
Yep.
The bird is the word.
Okay. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. You'll find a link to the full video in the description should you choose to watch it. And please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of Maintaining Frame, and we will talk to you guys in the next video. Oh, I got one last super chat, the last second. I might as well read it. The Red Pill Bros, this is Albernated Retro again for $10 Canadian. The Red Pill Bros aren't even red pilled. They are snake oil salesmen. If you guys don't like my opposition to that trash, I'll go away, no problem.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Enjoy your fascism, Albert. Come
Albert.
on, man. What? Like, basically, you know what you're doing right now? You're basically saying you have to have my opinions, otherwise I'm not going to like support you guys or whatever.
Okay, Albert, this is what I
think you should get your priorities straight. That's
this
all
is
I'm
what
going
I
to
was
say.
saying, Albert. What is it that we give you? That what I meant is that we so offend you with some of our opinions about Trump, about Andrew Tate not being Satan, maybe, you know, whatever's going on with him legally or what he says not being Satan, and probably also Peterson. I think there's other people that you've gotten really upset over, and not knowing who Ralph Nader is. I just forgot. That's all.
No, that wasn't Albert Nader. Rachel, that was somebody else.
Oh, it's Albatross. I'm pretty sure that's him.
Yeah,
No,
it was
okay, never
Albatross.
mind.
That's a different person.
I don't think it is, but maybe it is. Okay, well, regardless, my point is we so offend you. So what is it that you're here for? And I'm not saying you need to leave. I'm just curious. What is it we give you that keeps you coming back? Because that would be interesting to know. Anyway, that's all I have to say to that. Hopefully,
I mean, yeah, like feel whatever you want to feel about it. We're gonna be here making content. You can watch, you can don't watch. I don't care. But like if you think that it's my job to stop people like Fresh and Fit, the Tate Brothers, or Pearl from making content, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have their clout. So if you want to give me a bunch of the clout that they have so that I can like talk to them, that'd be great. But that's not we're tiny, we stay tiny, we've been tiny for 10 years. That's just the reality. So we're doing what we can here, but you're not helping. You're just saying, why aren't you doing this? And it's like, we're doing our thing, guys. Like, just let us do our thing. You know, like what? It's like, why aren't you answering for people you've never spoken to that would never talk to you or give you the time of day? Why haven't you said something to them? I can't. I'm doing this out of a 2-bedroom apartment in Virginia because it's just barely getting by here, and people are still saying, why aren't you doing enough? It's crazy making.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm not those people. I'm doing my fucking thing, and we're doing our thing here. I get pulled in all kinds of directions. I got Natty telling me I should be doing this. I got Peter Wright coming down my throat for something else. And then you're telling me that I have to like disavow so-and-so who doesn't know my name. It's stupid. I just want to do my show. Okay? So watch it or don't watch it. I don't care. But don't expect me to just like do the work of other people. Like I can't answer for them. It's not possible. They don't know me. Like this. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But I think that right here, you're probably answering for something that I did. Like I said, Albert Nader Retro, I didn't mean that you have to leave. I'm asking you why you stay. Like genuinely, think about it. Why are you here instead of with the left content bashing Andrew Tate and Trump and Jordan Peterson? And I don't think that we're particularly pro any of those people. We take what the things they say for what they are, but I'm just curious. Like, search your soul. Why are you here? And that's not to say you need to leave, but why do you stay? What keeps you here?
Well, I'll say this, okay? We were lucky enough to have Peterson on once. All I will say is that there are people in our corner of the woods that make content. And I guarantee you that some of them, if not all of them, have saved men's lives at some point. Like Peterson used to get people who would come up to him and say that they were very low and they were very depressed and they almost took their own life. And he stopped them from doing that. Now, maybe in somebody's imagination, they would prefer that it was somebody like Karen that did that. But the fact is, it wasn't. It was somebody like Andrew Tate. I'm sorry, but it probably was. He probably stopped some guy from committing suicide. The somebody else probably did something like that too. I can't answer for people who don't know me. I can only do what I do. It would be like and I'm not mad. Like, I'm not mad. I just think it's just kind of retarded. But it would be like it's sort of like the Nick thing. So like Nick Redding would come into our chat and he would basically demand that we do actual activism, and that because we're not doing it, that somehow we're not worthy of being on the internet doing anything. And I'm just like, dude, why don't you go do that then? Like start a channel and start talking on your channel about whatever you want and take whatever stands you want. And I wish you all the best, and I hope you have a gigantic audience and everything turns out well. But we are not part of some organization. Like, I can't pick up the phone and get like Tate on and say, hey man, would you mind stopping with all the stuff that you're alleged of doing? Because it's not going to do anything. It's kind of like a waste of energy. And I don't really, like somebody mentioned in the chat, it's just like promoting infighting. That's right. Like, I don't want to be involved with that, because I think that what we're up against is like thousands of times worse than, some of this other shit that's going on in the background. I just don't care. I'm sorry, but I have to get my priorities in order. Okay. So I want to stop men from killing themselves. I want to stop people from cutting babies' genitals. I want to ensure that fathers can stay in their homes. I want to make sure that boys get like the best opportunities possible. And I hope that men and women can come together and form families. That's it. That, like, what Pearl does, none of my business. I don't care. If she helps her out, that's great. Whatever somebody else is doing, I don't care. But like, just me shitting on these people, no, I'm not going to do it. Even people that I don't really care for, like Chloe Roma, I don't want her shut down. She should be able to go and make her content. I'm not going to come out here and disavow. But if she says something I disagree with, then I will basically say, here's what I take issue with. That's it. Like, that's just what I do. I'm sorry, but like I said, help out or don't help out, it's fine. But
well, he does. This is where the question is coming from.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying. It's just like you keep to what you can do. You keep to what you think. You keep to discussing people's ideas, although occasionally we discuss their micro facial expressions, but that's on me.
Then the question becomes, like, if you're like, well, I don't like Fresh and Fit or Tate or Pearl. I mean, like, this is what I said earlier in the show. Like, when I was doing this, when we were doing this, those people didn't exist. They weren't on the internet at all. So they're here now. So the question is not, do we hate these people or not? The question is, how did it get to this? Well, I'll tell you how. It was because of feminism. It's because of these HR harpies that have essentially over time done more and more damage and have demonized men more and more, where men are basically going to further and further extremes to find something that they can call theirs. It's not my fault this happened, and it's not even the fault of people like Pearl that it happened. It's literally feminists that created these people, and the next wave is going to be worse than this one is. So if we don't do something about feminism, then that's just going to keep getting worse. You see? So we're like, and I don't care about that. Like, the damage that is being done, whatever that is, really is only damaging feminism. It's like, it's not my problem, because I'm still doing things my way here. So, we've been here. Yeah, we've been doing this longer than any of them, but like the algorithm favors what it favors. So I can't do anything about that.
Well, the thing is that for now, the algorithm favors men's question. Like, look at what she says. The algorithm favors how to become more attractive to women, how to gain financially, and how to become more attractive. More attractive to women, and how to get swole. Right. That is all about being attractive to women. Is about living up to their standards. It's about centering their standards, and that's not what we do here. We're not telling men this is how you live up to women's standards. We're saying, hey, maybe we should hold women to higher standards. So it's a different focus, and that kind of stuff gets a lot of attention. It gets a lot of play because there still are a lot of men who want to, get a woman in their life. They want to become appealing to men or to women. And that's very important to them. And there's nothing wrong with that. That should be important to them. But that's not the message that we're giving. The message is, are women good enough? Right? Are women worthy of the men that they hold to these standards? And also, is our society treating men in a way that's reasonable and logical and compassionate? In my opinion, I would hope also compassionate. I know that men like to hold themselves to standards. They like to be held to standards, but are those standards realistic, or are they a lie? Are you being held to are you being guilted for not doing the best that you can be? Or are you being shamed for being a man? I mean, these are the things that we need to talk about. These are men's issues. They're not how to become more attractive. They're existential questions about, is the society I'm a part of worth it? And if it isn't, is there a way we can change that? Or how does that need to be changed? It's a very different conversation. So, and I don't know if Pearl would be equipped to have a conversation like that. Maybe she would be. I don't think Tate could even begin to really comprehend it. Peterson probably could, but he's in his grumpy internet granddaddy era. So, I'm not exactly sure where we'd go with that. But yeah, it's like, it is what it is. And really, all I meant was, why do you still come back? What is it we're giving you? Because it's obvious you're taking some value from it. And I'm really curious what it is, because it seems like you hate our opinions on a lot of different matters, and yet you're still here supporting us.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious. That's all I meant. I didn't mean to get it up in everybody's schnoots and make it into a fur flying thing. That's all I meant. But anyway, so with that, I think you definitely need to start winding down. So feedthebadger.com/support to support the show. Feedthebadger.com/justthetip to send us a message and a tip. And back to you, Brian.
Yeah, I think I already did the like, share, subscribe, and all that. But
okay, all right.
Thanks,
all right,
guys, for coming on the
you.
show.
I got to the point of waving and smiling, but it was just.
Oh, I know.
The end was snatched.
It's well, the super chats come in at the last possible second, and it's kind of
super
it's kind
chats
of
either.
none of that. That's okay. All right, we're gonna go, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Men's right activists are machines, dude. Okay, they are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.